So if we have 100 employees in 10 years, we probably have 90 in 9 years. You probably have 80 in 8 years, right? It doesn't, obviously it's not linear, but it's going to be, somewhat of a trajectory going forward. So yes, let's look at 5 years. Where do we need to be in 5 years and get that down on paper? And then once again, and keep moving backwards to figure out what we need to achieve this year. Because I think a lot of businesses, if we look at this year, even if they're successful from a profitability perspective, are they building the assets that they need to build to get to where they really want to be?
Fastlane Founders and Legacy with Jason Barnard. Each week, Jason sits down with successful entrepreneurs, CEOs, and executives and get them to share how they mastered the delicate balance between rapid growth and enduring success in the business world. How can we quickly build a profitable business that stands the test of time and becomes our legacy? A legacy we're proud of. Fastlane Founders and Legacy with Jason Barnard.
Hi everybody and welcome to another Fastlane Founders and Legacy with me, Jason Barnard, and a quick hello and we're good to go. Welcome to the show, Dave Lavinsky.
I like that. Thanks for having me here, Jason.
Yeah, you get the baritone.
I'll take it.
Lovely to meet you. We're going to be talking about Start at the End, which is a really cryptic title. Can you, in one sentence, tell me what we're going to be talking about?
When we talk about Start at the End, we talk about envisioning where you want your business to be in X years, which is the end, and how you create a plan, reverse engineer that end vision so that you can achieve that vision over the next X years.
Right, which is why you got tagged as interesting guest.
We'll take
Gab, the podcast production manager. We were discussing that just before, and now I 100% understand exactly why she made that particular tag. Before we get into that, Calicube looks after personal brands and corporate brands for entrepreneurs, and you have a lovely knowledge panel. If I search your name on Google, you look great. It lists you as an author, which is unfortunate because you're actually an entrepreneur. But you look really good. Is your name unique?
Mostly. There's one David Lavinsky, but I'm the only one that goes by Dave. So there is, if you do search on just Lavinsky or David Lavinsky, you'll find one or two other people. But yeah, it is pretty unique. I'm lucky. To that extent.
Unlike my new friend, James Brown, who I interviewed earlier on. Then I looked at AI Mode, which is Google's new AI system to challenge ChatGPT. And it, for some reason, kept repeating groupthink. It's obsessed by groupthink. It even thinks that your education is groupthink. No idea where that comes from. And that's one of the problems with AI right now, is it gets itself into a little hole and it can't get out. And it keeps repeating things that just don't make sense. So this is a good example of hallucinations that AI often has because it doesn't really understand what it's saying. Whereas the knowledge graph and the knowledge panel here is fact. So we've gone from fact, which is really cool in Google search, to I'm not really sure. I might get my head stuck in a hole and I will repeat something that doesn't make sense, despite the fact that it's obviously not logical. Education, groupthink is not logical because groupthink is your company.
Correct. So
AI still not quite there. So Dave, having a unique name is a huge advantage. If you're called James Brown, you have a huge problem with the very famous James Brown. If you're called Dave Lavinsky, you don't need Calicube.
Agreed. Except if everyone starts naming their child Dave Lavinsky, then we have a problem on our hands. But most likely that's not going to happen. So everyone does need Calicube.
You're safe. Brilliant. Wonderful. So let's get on to Start at the End. So you're saying at Calicube, I need to imagine where I want to be at the end. Now, the end could be 20 years. It could be 10 years. It could be 5 years.
Correct.
How do I decide?
So for everyone, it's different. When we talk, my background is business planning. So a lot of times I say, hey, you're starting a company or you have a company and you have this company and today is today. And what do I want to do with this company? What is the end game? I want to take this company public. I want to grow the company to X million dollars in sales and sell it. But I think for personally, maybe, it could be a longer term, but for your company, I think you have an idea in mind that I want to take it to this point. And that, if you're a young entrepreneur, you may have it may be 30 years from now. If you're a little old, you may say, hey, this is my 5-year goal or 10-year goal. But it's really just think about your company, what you want, what's the end game for that company. So let's say that, Jason, you and I are starting a company and we're starting a hair salon.
Thank you.
And you and I starting a hair salon.
Some have more need than others.
Well, we do everything. We don't just do, we don't just do top of the head. We do beards and everything else. And we're going to start a chain of hair salons. And we want to grow this business, and we want to get to $100 million in sales. And we don't know, let's say we want to get to $100 million in sales in 7 years, and we want to sell the company and retire and go off into the sunset. So that's our end. And really, and so that's the most important thing for all entrepreneurs, is to understand what that end game is. Because if you don't, it's Yogi Berra, the baseball player, said, if you don't know where you're going, you're not going to get there. And so a lot of entrepreneurs, they know at the beginning when they launch their business, a lot of times they know where they want to go. But once they start it, they deal with the fires of every day running a business. And it's hard for them they lose sight of where they want to go. I'm sorry, did you want to say something, Jason?
Yeah, well, there are two things going on there. Number one is most entrepreneurs know where they want to go and then forget because they're fighting fires.
Yes.
I would have imagined most entrepreneurs don't know where they want to go and they just start it because it's fun. But that's because that's what I've always done.
It's just start.
Yeah, I start because I think, wow, I can solve brand problems in Google and now brand problems in AI. I can disambiguate and make you look like a superstar when you're not. I can make your personal brand or corporate brand look much, much more important, much, much more authoritative than it truly is by using what you already have. That's a fun idea, and I can see that it's useful, but I've got no idea what the end is.
I hear you. I think that's maybe more of a serial entrepreneur type of thing where you keep iterating, keep coming up with new ideas. I'm a little jaded by the fact that my expertise for the last 25 plus years is business planning. So a lot of entrepreneurs come to me because they need a business plan. Why do they need a business plan? Usually they need a business plan to present to an investor, and investor or lender, and the investor or lender, as part of the business plan, wants to know that end game. They say, well, how am I going to get my money back? So a lot of times the people I work with, when they start the business, they have that end game in mind. You, as more of a serial entrepreneur, you keep coming up with new ideas. A lot of times, yes, you may not have the end game in mind. You just think, hey, this is cool. Let's do this. And we'll, and it'll achieve whatever, but you're not as defined on the end game, which is also fine.
Right. Well, I had an interesting experience this weekend. I went off to the countryside for a musical weekend, jamming with musicians.
Perfect.
And strangely, one of the conversations with one of the musicians was exactly this.
Okay.
He said to me, what's your end game with your business?
Interesting.
So this is absolutely perfect. And I've been thinking the last couple of days, what is my end game?
Got it. So let's talk. So the end game, let's get rid of our hair company, but your end game is to get to here. And so really the strategy is, okay, we want to be here. We want to be whatever the number is, $100 million and here. And the first thing I like to do is really figure out what that means. So let's say we're trying to get to $100 million in whatever business it is. Does that mean we have 1 location, 10 locations? How many employees do we have? So I like to figure out, well, what assets are required to get to that $100 million business. It's not just going to be me and you, right? We're going to need to have different locations, different people, different systems. So what I like to say is, okay, this is where we want to be, and this is what it looks like. What do we need to achieve in the next year to get us on track to getting on the trajectory to getting to where we want to be in 5 years or 7 years, or the end game? And then I like to work back further. Well, if that's where we need to be in a year to get to the end game, where do we need to be at the end of the quarter? Where do we need to be at the end of the month? Where do we need to be at the end of the week? Where do you be, what do I need to do today? So it's really reverse planning to figure out to get to that end game. And once again, it goes back to most people don't know the end game. Most entrepreneurs forget about the end game, and so they don't plan properly.
Yeah, forget about or didn't know to start with, my case being the second
Right.
one. But if I say, okay, I've got an end game, 10 years time, CaliCube, we're making $100 million a year.
Okay.
Is it worth me looking at a 5-year plan, or should I just look at the 1 year?
No. Well, so yeah. So great question. 10 years, here's where I want to be in 10 years. I'm okay with whatever breakdown you want. Here's where I want to be 9 years, 8 years, 7 years, 6 or 5. I want to figure out the trajectory. So if we have 100 employees in 10 years, we probably have 90 in 9 years. You probably have 80 in 8 years, right? It doesn't, obviously it's not linear, but it's going to be, somewhat of a trajectory going forward. So yes, let's look at 5 years. Where do we need to be in 5 years and get that down on paper? And then once again, and keep moving backwards to figure out what we need to achieve this year. Because I think a lot of businesses, if we look at this year, even if they're successful from a profitability perspective, are they building the assets that they need to build to get to where they really want to be?
So I have another question, and it's really bothering me.
Bring it on.
You ended up saying, what do I need to do today? And my immediate question is,
okay,
if I want $100 million in 10 years' time, why am I talking to you, Dave?
Meaning,
this is what I'm doing today. It's what I've chosen to do today. Is talk to you and my friend James Brown, which still makes me giggle.
Mm-hmm.
Am I doing the right thing?
Well, I don't know, because I don't know what the 10-year plan is. But what you are doing today is you're building an asset. This podcast and this video and this audio is as an asset. Most entrepreneurs don't build assets on a daily basis, right? So this podcast, maybe no one will ever listen to it, or maybe we'll have 1 million people listen to it. And this is something that's going to really help you. Now, for me, going back to Start at the End, I wrote a book called Start at the End just over a decade ago. And this guy named Rob Dyrdek from the TV show Ridiculousness read the book. He has since said it's the most influential book that he's ever read. And he's actually used that philosophy to say, this is where I want to be. And now he's somewhat close to a billionaire entrepreneur. And so that was an asset that I created many years ago that actually has come to help me and a lot of other entrepreneurs, but it's helped me on my trajectory to getting to where I want to go.
Right. Okay. And that's where the million entrepreneurs, I was curious about that as well. You've helped over 1 million entrepreneurs. That includes people who've read your book.
Didn't include those folks, but yeah, I mean, we're talking about, so we sell business plan software, business plan guides, and we've had over 1 million people purchase and or download our software and business planning guide. So we've helped. So it's well over 1 million at this point throughout the world.
Okay. Super. Right. So coming back to, that was just curiosity.
Sure.
It's really difficult for me to think, what should I do today with that $100 million 10-year goal in mind? And that was the question. I mean, I didn't mean to insult you, but am I doing the right thing? As you said, you don't know, but I'm creating an asset which is already positive. All the other things I did today, I'm suddenly freaking out that I'm wasting my time.
There's a decent chance that there are certain things that you are doing that is wasting your time in terms of getting to your goal. So, but you are doing some other things that are good. So once again, we take that 10-year goal, 5-year goal, we break it down to what do we need? Where does your business be at the end of the year, end of the quarter, end of the month? I mean, on a daily basis, it's hard. You got to say, okay, if I want to be here at the end of the month, and a lot of times it's building an asset. When I say an asset, hiring a new employee, training a new employee, creating a new podcast, figuring out, building a new system, et cetera, launching a new ad channel, et cetera. So these things that you say, hey, at the end of this month, I'm more so of planning what you need to do at the end of the month, a month by month. On a daily basis, it's harder. But if you say, hey, this is what I want to achieve at the end of the month, and maybe your goal at the end of the month is I want to have 8 new podcasts and I want to do this. And then, so today you recorded 2 podcasts, you won. You won, but what else you need to do? So really it's thinking about more of a monthly, what do we need to accomplish this month to get us on the year track and the 10-year track? So what do we need to do on this week or every day this month to get us to that monthly goal?
Right. So I mean that's kind of huge already. I've set myself the goal by the end of the month that I'm going to build the back end of CaliCube, the Cali Nexus tech stack, to be able to deal with the claim, pray, and prove model that we're implementing for our clients automatically.
Good. Okay.
And every day I think, which bit should I do now? Then I get distracted by the podcast episode that I need to record because Gab set it up and she's done a brilliant job and it's exactly what I need, because then I just pitch up and do the interview.
Right.
Then somebody sends me an email about an event that I've got to do tomorrow, and I get distracted all the time. So that kind of end of month goal is quite difficult to hit. And that's a question of obviously time organization, which is why I'm struggling with the kind of breaking it down day to day. I think I can get to the end of the month by achieving what I aim, but I'm probably going to have to work the weekend.
Or possibly yes. So what I do, I'm a big fan of the time chunking or time blocking on my calendar. So if you say, hey, Dave, I can only do the podcast during these hours. And I did when I scheduled it, I said, I can't do these hours. Certain hours I couldn't do. This is the only spot that I could do because certain hours are already blocked out for me, that these are hours that are going towards tasks that I need to accomplish to hit the monthly goal, to hit the annual goal, to hit the, multi-year goal. So I'm a big fan of blocking at those hours and holding them very, very sacred.
Right. Yeah, which I never do. I'm rubbish at that. So first good tip, but that's actually less to do with the start at the end.
Sure.
Now, another question that I have is, you said $100 million, so I repeated $100 million.
Okay.
How do I define what my goal is? I mean, I'm sitting here now in my company thinking, okay, it's going well. We're making money. We've got the clients. I'm comfortable. The team's great. And now I can sit down and define my goal.
Okay.
I could say $100 million. I could say $10 million. I could say $15 million. I could say $5 million. I'm picking numbers out of the air.
Okay. So for you, well, say for me, I know what I want to do after the end of my business. I know my personal ambitions. Well, I said, well, I personally, I'm a relatively unique case in that I'm going to go into politics after I end my business, and I already started playing with that. And so I have a very defined timeline. But for most people, it's okay. I want to, well, a lot of people, it depends on your age. I want to start a new business, or I want to retire. Now let's say our goal is to retire. And then it's just, okay, I want to try, well, what do I want to do? I want to travel and get a sense of how much money I need to achieve that goal. So let's say I need, if I need $5 million and that's what, sort of I planned out to travel and do this, then I need to exit with $5 million in cash at the end. So to me, it's just like thinking about what you want to do next. And that differs for everybody. For everybody. Yeah. And there's a lot of social entrepreneurs that don't want any money. That the goal is that helping 1 million entrepreneurs like I've done, that could be their end game. And that's beautiful and that's wonderful. So it doesn't have to be a cash thing. It could be, hey, I want to help 1 billion people. Go for it. I love it.
Right. Yeah, I kind of got the feeling I was getting retirement advice from you there. But in fact, the helping 1 million people, we give away the CaliQ process, which is our methodology for managing brands in Google and AI. We give it away for free because it's an existential problem. How AI understands and represents you is something that people are going to have to get a grip on, whether they like it or not. Give it away for free, and we help people who are time poor, cash rich, who want us to do it for them and do it properly.
Perfect.
My biggest aim is to help as many people as possible, and to be able to retire comfortably and play music. That's it.
Okay. Well, I love that. My family's very, very musical. Been to 5 concerts in the last week and a half, I think. So, and my kids are both musicians, and my wife's actually a musician as well. So we're big on music. So, but those goals are great. Those goals are great. But in terms of the business side, you want to help a lot of people, and maybe that you write that down. We want to have 1 million people download the guide, or whatever that number is. And maybe the million's just a nice round number. I don't want to put words in your mouth or give you goals that.
The thing is, Katrina, who manages the guide downloads, is probably now freaking out as she listens to this.
I said 10 million. I said 10, you say 1 million. I said 10 million. Make her freak out a little more. No, so I like that approach, because when you say to me, I want to make $100 million, that doesn't really resonate in my brain. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
10 million or 100 million doesn't make any difference to me.
Yeah.
Helping 1 million people by having them download the guide and understand exactly what they can do to control their destiny.
Good.
Existential problem. How does AI understand and represent me? I can take control. Wow, brilliant. 1 million people help. That's something I can deal with.
Good.
And then build a business whereby I'm comfortable for my retirement. Sorry, go ahead.
Perfect. And so with the downloads of the guide, yes, it's not linear, but we can say, hey, we got 300 last month. What do we need to do to get, and maybe not 400 this month, but we need to get, 400, 500, we need to get this much by the end of the year. Because a lot of times I don't like very short-term thinking. It's like, yes, if I held a gun to your head and you have to get 100 more downloads this month, you'll figure it out. But maybe the following month, it's going to go down. So I'm more about how do we build assets? What do we need to do? Do we need to build a bunch of new organic, web pages that support that link to the guide? And that's something that could take several months to do. And that's fine. And let's say it takes us 4 months to create all those supporting pages. I'm fine with that as long as we create 4 of those pages this month and 4 of those pages next month, right? So we keep adding assets that are going to allow us to achieve that goal. And then, as you said, money-wise, it's different for everyone. Some people are happy retiring with no money. I'm great with that. I just want to understand, and it could be legacy. I want to understand where you want to be so that we can start there and figure out the plan to get you there. Because once again, very few people are doing that, and fewer entrepreneurs.
Yep, that's a great conclusion.
Yeah,
I need to set my goal, work backwards to figure out how to get there, look at what I'm going to do to get to the next 5-year point, then to the next year point, then to the next month point. Don't freak out too much about the daily stuff. Read your book, because apparently it's the best book ever.
Just the first 3 chapters, and then you could stop.
Oh, brilliant. Okay. And that's perfect. So I will do that now. Thank you very much, Dave. That was great. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. You get the outro song. Great goodbye to end the show. Thank you, Dave.
I was not expecting that. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be here. I appreciate the singing, appreciate the music, and I just hope that the people, the entrepreneurs listening today, got some value out of that and are able to grow the business that they're here to achieve. So that's my goal.
Brilliant. Well, I got a lot out of it. So that's one person already.
We'll take it. Thank you, Jason.
Your corporate and personal brands are what Google and AI say they are. We can give you back control. CaliCube.